All right. Hello and welcome to Thai Yoga USA, Tai Chi, Qi Gong Yoga. With me on my far right is Lester Holmes,
Peace to the tribe.
Marcus Brimage, and
up,
yours truly, Dr. George Xavier Love. So we've got a yoga instructor, newly minted and former MMA fighter. And we have combat Tai Chi with Lester Holmes. So we're going to start with Lester. Lester, you're going to share with us some information about Tai Chi, the origins, the background, the history. And then we're going to leave a little bit of room towards the end for questions. If you have questions or comments, type them in, and our producer will let us know when we have questions to answer. So, Lester, take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And peace to the tribe. Thank everybody for being here. Tai Chi, becoming a popular topic here in the U.S. now. Born in Asia, the Eastern culture has come here and taken the Western world by storm. What is Tai Chi? Let's just start with the name itself, because the philosophy is actually inside of the name. A lot of people are familiar with this sign, or that sign that Dr. Love has on his shirt. Most people call it the yin-yang sign. Yin and yang meaning opposites, the great extremes. Now, how does this philosophy of yin and yang come into play for martial arts? That's what seems to be such a mystery to most people these days, because Tai Chi, or Tai Chi Chuan, you'll see it as Chuan, which means the fist. How do we balance the hard and the soft and make it into a martial art? That is the mystery. And lo and behold, this is our our middle, Mr. Brigham himself. And surely we'll see exactly how this Tai Chi philosophy works out in the MMA world, because he'll be using yoga, Qi Gong, and Tai Chi and displaying it to all of us to see it. So before we can even think of having Tai Chi, we must have something known as Wu Ji. Wu Ji. Now, what is Wu Ji? I'll take this symbol here and I'll turn it. You can see that this sign has opposites, right? The white and the black, the yin and the yang, the up and the down, the in and the out. But it has to come from here. This is just a black dot. Comes from nothing, right? Wu Ji means nothing. Now, don't let me confuse you by the nothing, because this no thing is actually everything. The possibility of everything. That's where everything comes from. And I'll break it down into 6 steps. Yeah, let's do that. We'll break it down into what Tai Chi is known as being the art of change, right? So everything comes from no thing. We can simply say this. Let's say that you have an idea, right? A thought. That thought came from nowhere, no thing, right? So that's the first step, no thing. The moment that you get an inkling of an idea, you have now began the art or the phases of change, the steps of change, right? Starts with no thing. Now we begin to change, moving into the second step. After the second step, we move into the third phase of change, which is changing. Changing. So now it's actually changing. We continue to move further and progress. Now we're into the change and coming to the end of the phase, which is ending of change. Now, with the ending of change, we're right back at the beginning of this circle here, because at the extreme, remember, Tai Chi is the infinite, right? Meaning infinite on both angles. So once it comes to an end, it comes right back to the beginning again. So it's all about the phases of change. Everything in the universe, everything that is and is not, must comply to these laws. These are the only true laws. They're natural laws, not man-made laws. These are the laws that will be here when we're gone. They still exist. So I'll just say this, the philosophy and the symbol for Tai Chi may look very simple. It is, but at the same time, it's very complex, it's vast, and it embodies everything that is. I think that's a good starting point for us that's just starting to get immersed in the world of Tai Chi. Not to confuse you, because there's levels upon levels within that I just gave you. So I would like pass the microphone over to Doc.
So would it be fair to say the Wuji is also emptiness?
Absolutely it is. Yes. It's
So
emptiness.
Nothing and emptiness.
Right.
You know, it's like the vast emptiness of space.
Right.
The Wuji is all of that.
Absolutely. Totality.
And from the Wuji becomes the yin yang.
Right.
Okay.
So they say that Tai Chi is born from Wuji.
Tai Chi is born from Wuji, from nothing. Okay. Now, Marcus. So you want to tell us about the 8 limbs of yoga?
Yes, and since you brought up the Tai Chi philosophy about the change, as you were talking about the Shanga yoga system, which means the 8 limbs of yoga. Shanga means Ashtanga means 8, and Ashtanga means 8, and the last part means limbs. So basically, this yogi named Patanjali, he made Patanjali. You see, yeah.
Tongue twister.
Yes. He made up this yoga sutras, and in them he talked about the way to liberation. And in there, in this 8-limb path of yoga, you had the yamas and the niyamas, which are the foundations, which are basically the restraints and the positive practices to being a better human being. And after that, you have the asanas, which are basically the yoga postures, pranayama, which is the breath control. And then we have pratyahara. That's when you have sensory withdrawal. And yeah, you can start focusing in and getting centered, and that's when
withdrawal of the senses. I like that.
And after the withdrawal from the senses comes the focus concentration. Usually in the yoga world, you focus on the breath. You know.
So from total withdrawal to then just focusing on the breath.
Just focusing on the breath and nothing else. And this is where everything started happening. It's like, oh man, did I leave the stove on? Or you started thinking about what happened last week at work, and then you got to come back to the breath. And after that, that's when you should reach the bliss and the enlightenment on the 8th part of this.
So that's samadhi.
Yes.
Samadhi.
Yes.
Samadhi is the bliss. Okay, so now, silly question. If I withdraw from the senses, then I focus on the breath, and then I find bliss, isn't that enough? Do I need to do more?
No, the thing is fleeting. You know, it's not like you're going to stay in bliss for 30,
Why can't I stay there?
You know what? I have not figured that part out yet myself, because if you stay there, you would never come back, you know?
I have to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you'll never come back. You'll just
Gotta
stay.
feed the cows. Yeah. Fix the roof. Yeah, I got you.
Can't live in the fun zone.
Can I chip in?
Please.
So listening to you, I'm hearing like Tai Chi as well. Just being expressed using different terminology. Very similar methods, because we also use the breath to guide us into a state of Wuji, right? And Wuji is, like we said, the state or the possibility of everything, no thing but everything, and that will be the state of bliss, just being there. And as Doc said, why can't we remain there? Well, just being human in this artificial environment. As humans, we gather a lot of artificial information just to be a human. You know what I mean? And that alone just draws us out of that bliss. You know, just to wake up and go to work, being a responsible husband, being the good dad, being the this, being the that, wearing all of these different hats, kind of pull us back away from being in the bliss. Now, if you choose to run away into the mountains somewhere, maybe you can maintain that bliss a little longer, like the ancient Taoists.
What about mindfulness training?
Mindfulness training is simply being aware for everything. Actually, that's part of the 8-limb path. That's yeah, it actually is. It's mindfulness on how you use your time and your prana.
Okay, so if I'm mindful and I have to wash dishes, I can wash dishes mindfully.
One
And I can
dish
be
at a
in
time.
samadhi while I'm washing dishes. And while I'm making rice and peas, I can be mindful while I'm making rice and peas. And I can be in samadhi. While I'm chewing, I can do chewing meditation. I can chew each mouthful 32 times, liberating the essence from the core of the food that I'm eating. Right? So that's why I asked you the question, why can't I stay in samadhi all the time? If I have to chop wood or carry water, mindfully, I could be in samadhi all the time.
All the time.
That's very
Because that is the purpose
goal.
of yoga. Yoga. Yog means to yoke. Okay, so yoga is to be in that bliss of consciousness of everything that you do. Whatever, if I have to mop the floors, I'm doing it mindfully. Concentrating on the breath and the movement, then everything I do is yoga.
This is true. This is very true. My wife wonders why I have no problem washing dishes, scrubbing floor, because I am doing, as Dr. Love just said, I have no problem with that.
Everything mindfully.
Yeah.
So in the Taoist perspective, there's the 8 limbs of Taoism from which Qi Gong arises. So the first thing is the philosophy of living. How do you want to live? So you choose a philosophy of being in harmony with whatever goes on. There's a flood. I'm in harmony with the flood. I'm not like, oh my God, it's the flood. Oh, what are we going to do? Earthquake, volcano, whatever it is, I'm choosing to be in harmony with whatever's happening out in the world. I'm going to make myself harmonious. So that's a mind state. That's the mindfulness.
Including invisible viruses?
Including invisible and viruses, because if I merge with everything and there's no power outside of me that's greater than me, then it's nothing.
Right.
All right? During the yellow fever epidemic in Philadelphia, it turns out there was one particular black family who took care of all the sick people and buried the dead and did everything, and they never got yellow fever because they didn't believe they could get yellow fever. And then 50 years later, they figured out it was a mosquito. Well, mosquitoes don't know the difference between white people and black people.
Right.
So they got bit. They just didn't get yellow fever. Wow.
So, question. I sorry, sir. I hate the. I know.
Go right ahead.
So, especially what's going on today, and the whole shebang with the riots, that was a very good way to utilize a technique to help you balance what's going on today, because it's very stimulating what's going on today and how
Emotionally stimulating.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So let me use different words to convey the same message.
Okay.
There's the quarantine, which is a real thing. Whatever it is that we think we're quarantining from is not real. The quarantine is real. You have to react to the quarantine. You have to do the physical distancing and the masking and so forth and so on. But whatever it is that we think we're quarantining from, that is not real. Number 2, there are people who are protesting. There's not riots. They're protests. And the reason they are protesting is because there's a history of police abuse,
Mm-hmm.
police brutality, overreacting to a situation where they have all the power and all the guns and all the protection, and the person that they're perpetrating their brutality on has no gun and no protection. Okay? So people are protesting, and they should protest because legally we have the right to protest when the government does not serve us.
Right.
Okay? So as a Taoist, I make myself in harmony with whatever's going on. The police are going to do what the police do. The district attorney is going to do what the district attorney does. Right? So either I can join the protest peacefully, or I can sit home and watch it on television and say, oh, look at that. I have a choice on how I react. But to continue with the 8 limbs, the next thing is the breath.
Yes.
Which is the prana,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Qi. So all that is the same. Then the next thing is meditation. So meditation is calming and relaxing the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So once I made a decision that I'm going to make myself in harmony, then I'm going to relax my nervous system. Okay? So I'm in a boat, and there's waves on the boat. And if I panic and like, oh, the wave is going to knock me over, or I can just go and go with the flow. That makes more sense, right?
Mm-hmm. A lot more.
So in push hands and in combat, there's an opponent. But the only real opponent is
Self.
yourself. So if you look at it as a game, and a game doesn't have a consequence of death and maiming, it's just a game. So it's a game. I'm just playing with you. Okay? So, the next thing is internal exercise. Now, we all know what external is. We all know what external is. But internal exercise is a very difficult concept to grasp, and I'm going to make it really simple. Right? Now, if you have to go to the bathroom, you sit on the toilet, and you use muscles to push something out your anal sphincter. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an internal exercise. Now, most kids eat too much, eat too fast, sit there and let it plop out as opposed to pushing it out. If a woman has a baby, she's got to push it out. And if she's never done anything to strengthen the pubococcygeal muscles that literally push the baby out of the uterus, it's going to be really painful. And she may end up with a cesarean section, which they cut the belly out from stem to stern, and not a good thing. So, internal exercise is strengthening the pelvic floor muscles, the pubococcygeal muscles, the abdominal muscles, and the esophageal muscles. So all the muscles from your throat to your anus, the 33 feet of your digestive system, there are 6 sphincters, 6 ring muscles that I teach you. So when little kids are scared, they pee in their pants.
Yes.
When adults are scared, what do? Right. They lose control of their bowels.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's a reaction to fear, anxiety, and stress, right? But if I've taught you internal exercise and you're confronted with a spear in your throat, then you're like, well, either he's going to poke me or I'm going to get out of the way. So I'm not reacting in fear. So my internal exercise allows me to control my parasympathetic nervous system and control my fear and anxiety.
So you don't poop your pants.
Hey, I like that. Don't poop your pants. Learn Qi Gong. So after internal exercise, then you learn how to extract Qi from food.
Okay, the essential nutrients.
The essential nutrients. Now, grains and beans contain essential nutrients. Dead animal flesh does not.
Okay.
Now, we're told that you need animal protein in order to survive, and yet there have been thousands of scientific studies to show that the body will convert whatever it needs from whatever you give it. Because historically, we always haven't been meat eaters. In fact, the entire Hindu faith, Jainism, Brahmanism, and Buddhism, they don't eat meat. And they live to be 100 and 120. So that's proof, that's historical proof, you don't need meat. So obviously you have to grow the food in soil where there's nutrients, and then secondarily, you have to choose those foods and prepare them so that your body can extract the essential nutrients. Then the next step is herbal medicine, which we call forgotten foods. So there's herbs specifically for the liver. There's herbs specifically for the lungs. There's herbs for the kidneys, herbs for the heart. So in Taoist, these are what we call tonic herbs. And there are 50 tonic herbs. And I recommend 12 out of the 50 that you should take every day. And so if you take those tonic herbs, you're absorbing qi from the food and from the herbs. Now the gong part, the moving, moves the energy.
Okay.
But the food and the herbs create the energy. So unless you know what to eat and how to prepare it, you won't be able to extract the essential nutrients that your Qi Gong yoga or Tai Chi utilizes.
So, Doc, how much cheese can I get from a cheeseburger?
Not very much. Not very much at all. Or French fries, for that matter. Or a chocolate milkshake.
Oh,
Actually,
milkshake. You had to bring
none of
that
us eat meat here, so we're all vegetarians. So.
Yeah.
Well, I made cashew cheese.
Oh, nice.
And yesterday I had a black bean burger
Yeah.
with beet pulp
Oh man, tasty.
smothered in
Delish.
That sounds so good.
tomato relish. Oh, it was really good. And the last aspect of Taoism is self-massage.
Yes.
And that's one thing that you and I, we glommed onto each other right away. He was like massaging my hands and my neck, my shoulders. I'm like, brother, I'm going to be with you for life. So he picked up on it right away. I don't know if that's part of Tai Chi, but he knows how to do it.
Perfect.
So in yoga, they do teach massage, right?
Actually, I partook in a class yesterday at a yoga home from one of my we doing the teacher trainings together, and she did something called Booty Deep, and it's a style of yoga, and it incorporates self massage, a lot of more deep rhythmic movements, and it's more restorative. Booty is very high action, but this one's more restorative based. So I started to, especially like dealing with all getting punched and kicked. That's when I started figuring out how to massage myself. Like, no one ever said, I was like, this hurts. And I was like, I wish somebody would do this to me. So that's how I started figuring out my own self massage.
We'll set you up. If I get one side, let's do the other side.
We'll
And
work
you
it out.
already found it. Just one touch, you already found it.
Well,
That's
right to
crazy.
it.
Yeah, right to it. Right to it. I can't wait to learn that.
So that's the 8 limbs of Taoist practice, of which Qi Gong is breathing, meditation, internal exercise, tonic herbs, and massage. So all of that is part of the Taoist training. And you and I took a road trip, 9 years ago? Was it 2011 or 2012? We took a road trip to North Carolina.
Right around there, yeah.
And we went to a massage school, and we got some of the best hands-on
Oh, man.
body work you could believe. And so that's when we actually bonded that road trip. And the body work is so critical to recover from the training.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it doesn't matter where you start. If you want to start with Tai Chi, start with Tai Chi. If you've already started with yoga, do yoga. But if you want to learn the medical aspect, come this way. So we're here to tell you that all three are equivalent, that a lot of the practices are very, very similar, and you shouldn't put one over the other because they're all equivalent.
Actually, Doc, I recommend to students to study with me that they come see you. Just for the simple fact of getting a different perspective, and not to mention that your toolbox is so deep.
Yeah.
I can't take that for granted.
And after my students have been with me for a year, I say, you got to learn Tai Chi. You have to learn the external as well as the internal. You got to create the balance. And somebody coming from martial arts to do yoga, he's creating his balance, which is pretty remarkable, Marcus.
You want flexibility. A lot of Tai Chi people are stiff as a board. Although Tai Chi gives you a certain level of flexibility, I focus on my own stretching routine. But my stretching routine is rooted from yoga. So if you're going to get yoga, I'm going to send you to Marcus.
And everyone's different. You say you have your own stretching routine.
Right.
Everyone has their own routine. I have very tight hips, so I have to focus more on that area as well. And I like doing balances because I'm very strong up top. So it's just you just find.
You didn't go to Qi Gong this morning, man. What's wrong with you?
I have to focus. This is a lot. Like, you guys are professionals. Y'all could do Qigong and rolling here and pull up cameras. Like, I have to center myself, like, think about the class. You're like, only thing you do is breathe. I got this. And then you just go. And I'm not there yet.
You working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Not there yet.
Okay.
Flying with the eagles, though.
Yeah.
So do we have any comments or questions? Does anybody...
Someone asked a question, but I wasn't clear on what it was. Can you all speak on either?
On either what?
I did not understand.
I know, we did.
We did
Tai
speak
Chi.
on either.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
But you know what, Doc? Someone did ask a question last week.
Okay.
If you could follow up on it today, because I'm
Okay.
sure they may be listening in.
All right.
Daryl, a martial arts brother, Kung Fu brother, he was curious about the proper way of learning the hard Qi Gong, the hard stuff.
Proper way. Okay.
All right.
The proper way is to build up strength and stamina, to build up strength in the joints and the support of the joints before you go into hard Qigong. So the soft overcomes the hard. So if you go right into the hard without the stamina training, you're going to injure yourself. So the proper way is to prepare for the eventual injury. So one of the things we do is body drumming. Okay? So when I studied martial arts, we started with 5-pound punches. And then after a month, then we went to 10-pound punches. And then we eventually worked up to 35-pound punches. And so we built up the fascia of the body in preparation for actual combat.
Fascia.
Okay? So you have to build up the strength of the fascia. Another thing we used to do is we had a big bucket of sand, and we kept digging our hands into the sand because sand is soft. And then we would beat the sand. We would punch the sand. Of course, we wore something to cover the skin. And so we would punch the sand. And then when we really got crazy, we would heat the sand. And then we would pound the hand onto hot sand. And that built up the bone strength, so that we could take hard punches. Okay, so of course doing horse stance, starting at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, up to 15, 20 minutes of just standing in horse stance. Now, I don't know if I told you last week about proprioception, which is the visual spatial muscle cortex of the body. It's the base of the brain called the cerebellum. So let's say you're fighting multiple opponents and you're like turning like this. So proprioception is the brain's ability to know where you are in time and space while you're moving. Okay? Well, it turns out that is triggered by the hip flexors. So when you're in standing horse, Mabu, and you're standing there, you're literally making a connection between the nerves there and the brain.
Right.
And that gives your legs, so when you do leg sweeps and leg kicks and side kicks, all that builds up your proprioception.
Amazing.
So Dana Frank Woolfolk says Lester gets really low and Snake creeps down.
Yeah, I'm the red dragon, by the way.
Okay.
Dana's one of your students?
Dana, who is it?
Dana Woolfolk.
Dana.
I'm not familiar with the last name.
Dana Frank Woolfolk.
Maybe they seen it online
They
somewhere.
seen it
Yeah.
Connection.
That's the one pose that almost made me famous.
Wow.
Almost.
So preparation, if you want to do hard Qigong safely and not get any injuries,
Right.
it's better to train up.
Samuel says good morning.
Good morning. So it's like a building up. You start like surface level and you build up to a certain degree. You don't just go in there pounding up the heated sand right away. Right. Right.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So you've trained with a heavy bag.
Right.
Of course you did. So there's kicks. So you've got the front part of your shin. That's thin. That's really, really thin. So if somebody was going to kick you, that's where they're going to kick you. So you have to find a way to build this muscle up by kicking a heavy bag, and that's going to take about a year. Because if somebody is practicing front kicks and you haven't built this up and they hit you, you may not be training for a couple of months.
Well, actually, one of the, I forget the guy's name. He was a famous MMA guy. Somebody kicked him right there and just snapped it right in half.
Anderson.
Whoa.
Silva, right. Snapped it right in half.
Anderson Silva's leg snapped.
Snapped.
Wow.
Snapped. Kicked him right here, the perfect spot. Not perfect for him, obviously, but yeah, that was it. Fight over. It snapped right. It was just so disgusting.
And in training, you can get easily injured in training. Easily. So you have to build up. You can't jump into sparring right away. If you want to learn hard martial arts, don't jump into sparring right away. Build up slowly
Progressive.
over time. And so in Qigong, one of the things we do every morning is a loose fist, and we bang, because the stamina point is 4 fingers below the soft part of the knee. That point is called stomach 36. So that is strength and stamina. So we do this 30 seconds every morning when we wake up. I mean, it's not really a long time, but it gets the blood flowing to that area. Okay? And then when we're in the beach, we go in the water and we do side snap kicks in the water. And because it's non-weight bearing, you can build your strength and speed in the
that
water.
24-hour fitness,
That's cool. So, what time is it?
36.
10:36. Okay. So, I really appreciate all of you listening to us live. Brother Marcus, and Sifu Lester.
Dropping the knowledge.
And this has been exciting for me.
Absolutely.
To be with two
Integrated all.
integrative
Yeah.
martial arts.
Always.
And healing and Taoist healing arts. And
I'm learning a lot, so I'm happy to be here.
so any last words you want to share?
I just want to say thanks to everyone. Shout out to Yoga Home. I'll see y'all shortly. I'm about to do the 12:30. That's it for me. My handle at Brim BRIM 205. See you later.
At Brim 205.
Yeah, someone was asking. They were trying to contact you, and I guess it wasn't very clear on the last podcast.
Yes, Brim. My last name is Brimish. The first four letters of my last name is BRIM. It's an old nickname from Alabama. And 205. That was Alabama's area code. So Brim 205.
Okay, and your contact information?
Actually, you can find me on Facebook. I'm on there a lot. I spend a lot of time on there. Actually doing a free Facebook Live every day at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can come on there and sample some Tai Chi. It's always different each lesson, and we're progressively growing and connecting. Even people are starting to come in to see me from the live stream. So check it out. It's Lester Holmes on Facebook.
And when are your classes given?
I teach 7 days a week, and most of my classes are small classes, 2 or 3 people at a time. Actually, we have a class tomorrow, right? Tomorrow at 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
And yeah, come on in. New students are welcome. Don't feel like we're too advanced, because we always start at the beginning for everybody, and we go slow, the Tai Chi way.
And where can they get a yoga class from you?
At Yoga Home in the Pompano City Center. You can follow them at Hot Yoga Home. See you later, Pompano City Center.
Okay, and we have a morning Qigong class every day, 7:30 to 8:30. You can attend live at Atlantic Avenue in Delray, right on the beach across from the hotel. Or you can go to loveqigong.com and register for that class. And I'm Dr. Qi Love, DRQILOVE, at Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So until next Monday, remember, prevention is the only cure, and your health is in your hands.
Peace to the tribe.
Peace to the tribe. So we got to get a soundtrack, Lester, the outro.
Bottom corner, other corner.